So my main question is whether or not... okay. So my main question is about transition before and after parties were introduced into the Ugandan system. So before multi-party was the system, before you had political parties introduced, what were the strengths and weaknesses of the LC system, local council system before parties? Why did you transition to parties, and what do you find the strengths of the weaknesses? So my first question is the main strengths of the no party system before, and then what issues you had, and why it was important or not to transition to multi-party.
Well, I may disappoint you in that regard, probably the question of the strength under the local government system under a no party system. I'm sorry, I might disappoint you there, because I find none as far as democracy is concerned, because I was one of the people who fought vigorously to ensure that we have multi-party democracy in this country. Mm-hmm. So I'm against the idea of having a no-party system, because it cripples down the whole system of governance. It can't subject the leaders to public accountability and of course transparency and so on, and public scrutiny rather, and transparency. So I think the whole government structure would not function normally under a one-party system or a no-party system, the so-called movement political system, right from the center down to the lowest administrative unit. We had a very big problem, the fusion of the state with the government and all their agencies. You could not draw a line between the state called Uganda and the movement as a system, as well as the people, the individuals who held those particular positions. They would pass off as one and the same. And that was a recipe for disaster for this country, and that's why we had to struggle as much as possible to ensure that we dismantle that arrangement.
So would you say that, the impetus for change, where did it come from? From, the people like yourself, different political parties, groups, international support, where did the impetus to change and to introduce multi-parties?
Well, it was really a concerted effort from our development partners, the donor community, as well as institutions elsewhere fighting for human rights, for democracy and good governance. Various international institutions helped us in the cause, but largely we played a key role as opposition here, the political parties, which were saved under the Constitution. The Constitution had saved the existing political parties. They were recognized and said you are free to exist, but you are not supposed to function. We initiated programs which involved public interest litigation in that field of constitutions and the rule of law. So we went to court. If you looked at the volumes of the judgments we have on those matters, several cases were filed in the Constitutional Court, and at the end of the day, we got a verdict from court that the then movement political system was not a political system per se, but it was a party, and they should register it if it was to continue participating in the political processes of this country. I think that was a turning point in the world struggle, and eventually they convened the National Council in Changwanzi and they resolved to open up the political space. They decided to hold a referendum, and we boycotted it. Yes, we boycotted the referendum because we felt like they were trying to subject a decision of court to a vote a plebiscite by the people, which was unconstitutional. It said, now, if the courts of law have found the movement to be a political organization rather than a system, and that is, as we talk right now, we have one-party state in this country. So a referendum would not address the situation, would not address that kind of impasse, constitutional crisis. All we needed is to invoke the legislative process, the legislative mechanism to dismantle the existing one-party state. And that's basically was our position. But the people in leadership decided all the same to go through the whole process of the referendum. And interestingly or ironically, the president himself campaigned on the side of the parties opening up of political space. So we felt like it was just a wastage of resources and time, since even the president was for opening up political parties at that time. He's saying now, let us open up the political space. Of course, for him, he advanced different reasons. He said they were getting rid of saboteurs from the movement political system, those who were frustrating the system from within, and said, let us open up the floodgates so that they can exit, they get out, those who feel conscripted into the system. So that was the situation then. And the system was not introduced into the local government immediately. Even after the whole structure had been dismantled, we went through general elections in 2006, but under a multi-party system, but that was restricted to presidential and parliamentary. So for the local government, no, to a certain level, yes, the local government was involved in it. The chairman, LC5 and what not. Then we came to the lower local administrative units. And there was a bit of argument that the system would not apply to the lower local government units, and said those ones should remain on individual merit as a hallmark, as a platform for one to stand for any public office in those, in that particular election. The matter went to court again. Some individuals, one called Baramira Lulanga and the others, our colleagues in FDC, they took the matter to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court again ruled that the principle of multi-party democracy is applicable across the board. So shouldn't be restricted to particular offices, said even a local council 1. I don't know whether you are familiar with those structures, local council 2, local council 3, all of them, they are open for competitive politics and the multi-party dispensation. That was the holding of court. But since then, we have failed to hold elections for at least the lower local administrative units. Our constitution provides that they would expire with the term of the president. That was May 2006. That's when the existing local councils expired. But up to now, we have not been in position to hold those elections. And we have pushed this matter time and again in Parliament, but the excuse being given, there is no money. Government is saying that they don't have enough funds to provide for those elections. So we are stuck, and you may wish to know that I'm the Shadow Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. I'm the Shadow Attorney General. So my counterpart appeared before our Committee Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee recently, and we put him to task to explain the legality of the existing local councils, which were constituted under the movement political system, but they are now serving under a multi-party democracy. Are they really constitutional? He was evasive in his answer. We put the same question to the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and his was the most interesting one. His response, he said, well, we must thank these people actually that they are now volunteers. They're just volunteers in these offices. They have committed themselves to serving the nation, to feel the vacuum that otherwise, if you chase them away from office, you will create a vacuum. but now they are volunteering into those offices until government finds some resources to finance the elections. So that's where we are as of now.
So, I guess last question, and then if anything else you'd like to add, what would you respond to people who say that the previous system was an individual merit system?
No, well, it was in a way provided for in the Constitution that access to public office would be based on individual merit. Nobody would campaign on a party platform. You come with your own individual program, you sell it to the electorate, if they buy it, you access public office. That is as far as the letter of the law is concerned. But in practice, it didn't work. I'll tell you, even under movement political system, if you cared enough to look at all the scripts of President Museveni and his speeches, he would use the phrase "we" in the movement. We in the movement, we in the movement. He never in his vocabulary used I as President Museveni, I President Museveni. No, he would say we in the movement, meaning it's group politics. He capitalized on group merit. So what they did is to constitutionalize a movement political party, which ironically was disguised as a no-party system where one would stand on individual merit. But in essence, it was not individual merit. I'll tell you, they would even facilitate candidates who were aligned to the movement ideology. They tried to propagate it as an ideology, but in essence, it was a political party. So it wasn't a system. It was exclusive. It was a party which, actually, in the judgment of court, I'm sorry if I put, it's a bit far. If I would show you the judgment of the court, one of the judges said, if this is a party which sponsors candidates, they got a letter from President Museveni where he outlined the regulations. That was when we were going for 2001 elections. For whoever wanted to stand in those elections and wanted the support of government, he laid out the rules and the regulations and said, if you wanted to access a political party, his advice, because he was bombarded with questions from the people who were ideologically leaning towards the movement, and they were asking, we are faced with a situation where so many people come up in an election and claim they are all movementists, and they are saying it is individual merit, but the electorate gets confused as to who supports the movement and what not. So in his guidance, the president said, now I advise that you sit down at LC, local council level. Now he is fusing the state structure, because local council is a state structure, with now the movement kind of politics, and says you sit down as LCs, you identify a candidate, a solo candidate, whom you should support. If that person is identified and elected at that level, I urge all the movement supporters to rally behind that person. If any other person does not comply with your decision, you banish him. You tell the electorate that this is not one of us, the decision. So you can see they would go into an arrangement of more or less like primaries for political parties, but they are disguising the thing as individual merit. The bottom line here is we didn't have individual merit politics. We would have a group passing off as movementists who are standing on individual merit, but in essence, they were members of a political organization called the movement. And their lordships even observed that the president was proposing to build a movement house. There was a proposal in 2001 to establish a movement house, kind of like a Uganda house for UPC. Then their lordships wondered and said, we've never heard of a political system owning a building. Like even you can't even if you went into the history of political systems, if you went into like the students of political science and whatnot, you would hardly find anybody claiming to be the author of multi-party democracy. I've not heard anybody claiming that I'm the author, I'm the owner of multi-partyism or pluralism. But the movement had founders. They were saying we are the founders of the movement political system. We own it. It is our baby. We have to nurture it, we have to let it grow. But a system is more or less like a theory, it's something in abstract, which cannot have a headquarter, which cannot have individual members, and so on and so forth. That's my understanding of a system. But here we had political organization passing off as a system with membership and sponsoring candidates. Literally, they would give people money. Those who are identified as movement supporters, they would be given. So you could see it is structurally organized. It had those structures. And the unfortunate bit was it was coached into legal language. We had the Movement Act. So that's why the Lordship said that Parliament legislated the one-party state contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. You know, our Constitution, Article 75 is the effect that Parliament shall not establish a one-party state. But the Lordship said by enacting a movement political system under an act of Parliament, they created a one-party state, whereby they said all Ugandans of 18 years and above are members of a movement political system. We cried out and said, no, this is forceful conscription into a one political party state. You can't tell me that by virtue of being a Ugandan and by the virtue that I've clocked 18 years of age, automatically I'll become a member of a political organization. No, there's no freedom of choice, no freedom of association, no. That I should be left free to do that. So that was the irony we had, and again they had the powers again to dismiss. So it was a fallacy. We didn't have something called individual merit. It doesn't exist because you cannot. Nobody should deceive you. You're a student of political science, a student of history, student of constitutionalism, student of democracy and governance. It's not possible for you to come up with a one-man platform. You sell it to the public, they buy it, and you implement it. You need a group. You can't work in isolation. So there was nothing like individual merit.
So what do you think your biggest challenge will be to building a multi-party system now?
Come again?
What's the biggest challenge to building a multi-party state now, you think?
The biggest challenge now we have ideological changes, rather reorientation, and changing the mindset of the public. Much as now the movement is registered as a political party, there are those who perceive it as a no-party system. And that's why we even have a confusion in our law. The law says Political Parties and Organizations Act. We have always wondered, why are we saying Political Parties and Organizations Act? You are either a political party or nothing. You can't say that for me I'm not a political party, I'm an organization. If you ask members of NRM, they will say ours is not a party, it's an organization. So you wonder where the difference lies. And there is that confusion in the definitions. If you looked at our law, the Political Parties and Organizations Act, it tries to draw a line between a political organization and a political party, which it's a very thin line. You don't see any difference, but that confusion which is reflected in the law is translated into the body politic on the ground. You find it will not be strange on the ground if you find people describing me as a multi-partist, and my opponent, who belongs to NRM, which is also a political party, being referred to as a movementist. It is still alive within the body politic here, within the mindset of the people, that Lukwago, who is a member of the Democratic Party, is a multi-partist. But my opponent, say Honorable Francis Babu, the one I replaced, who stood on NRM ticket, which is also registered as a political organization. Theirs is not a political party, but a political organization, but is competing in a multi-party democracy. But now they are saying, for me, I'm a multi-partist. For him, he's a movementist. So the movement is put in some kind of a different category. In other words, they are trying to stigmatize multipartyism, given our history here, that it is divisive, it is responsible for the chaos we have had in this country, and so on and so forth. So it is kind of stigmatized here, and that's why when we pushed the current government, the ruling NRM, to open up the political space, they never wanted to inculcate it down to the ground. So that's where we have a problem, that there is no will on the part of the leadership, President Museveni, to cultivate a culture of multipartyism, so that people appreciate that pluralism is a virtue, it's a right, it's a given, it's in the Constitution, that you mean well for this country, even if you belong to a political party. We are seen as saboteurs, we are seen as people who are all out to cause chaos in this country. We are seen as people who are anti-development, who are not nationalistic or patriotic, and so on and so forth. That is the image. Secondly, the other biggest challenge we have is the fusion, the state with NRM. The state institutions are so much fused with NRM, and that is a very, very big challenge. As of now, you can't draw a line between NRM and all the state institutions, the army, the police, the prisons, and everywhere. All these institutions are seen as NRM institutions. Today, this is my constituency, Kampala Central. But if I called a meeting here to address the people, you will see what will happen. I've been to jail on several occasions, been clobbered with my people. Probably if you had some time, little time, I could show you some pictures here. I wish we've been clobbered
by the police,
by the army, and even just yesterday I was supposed to meet people in some market here, and I gave notice to the commandant of Metropolitan Police here in Kampala. He didn't respond to my letter. I sent it on 9th, and the meeting was supposed to be there yesterday, 14th. He never responded, but what he did, very early in the morning, he deployed the police and military police in the area where we were supposed to have a meeting. The same thing happened to so many people. The whole of this weekend, we've been engaged in running battles with the police about this new law which is coming up for government to take over the administration of Kampala, whereby the leadership of Kampala would not be determined by the people, but it will be direct appointments by the president, and to a certain extent, some election at different level, like electoral college level, where it would not be like the mayor, the road mayor would not be directly elected by the people, the division mayors, and so on and so forth. All these other leaders will not be directly elected by the people. So they want to rule out the element of universal adult suffrage, so that leaders are elected under electoral colleges, which you can easily manipulate. So basically, the fusion we have is that the police perceive members of the opposition as enemies. That by the mere fact that you are competing with NRM, you are a rebel. You are against the government, you are against the state, and so on and so forth. Again, it is the same thing with the person of the president. You know that fusion, the person of the president. President Museveni's name is so much ingrained in the political system that rather in the political structures we have here, so that even a mere mention of his mistakes is enough to charges in the course of that is sedition and so on and so on. You can't criticize his policies at all. You cannot. And you can't, like I've seen this system in the US where even members of the party can go against the position of their party. Members of the Congress, yes, can go against the position of the party. like I think was it the other year about immigration policy where they opposed the Bush and so. But here it cannot happen. We have the movement caucus in Parliament. They are being hounded when it comes to taking positions. Or they can't take they can't exercise their free will and thinking. So these are all challenges we are facing, and the police here is the major stumbling block in the whole process, because now it's being used as an instrument of oppression. If I showed you a legislation that was passed last year, an instrument which was made by the minister, requiring everybody who wanted to meet, to hold any public meeting, to seek for permission from the Inspector General of Police, not any other officer of police, but the Inspector General of Police or any other person he has delegated. But as we talk now, the powers are now concentrated in the office of the Inspector General of Police. So if you talk to the Commandant, Metropolitan Police here, who is a very big person, or Senior Superintendent of Police, ASP, or even the Assistant Inspector General of Police, because the Commandant here of Metropolitan Police Kampala is the Assistant Inspector General of Police. He also tells you, I don't have powers to grant a permit for you to hold an assembly. You try to access Kaihura is the Inspector General of Police. You can't access his office. You write to him, they don't receive the letters. You try to call him, he doesn't pick the phone. So you find the whole thing is meant to frustrate political activity here, political parties, and that doesn't augur well with the democratization process. So these are some of the pictures. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. Here, this is myself.
Mm-hmm.
This is the former DPC.
You can put it somewhere.
It won't show because of this. I would have
sorry.
to, if you
You can
could
even do
email
that.
it to me, that would be great.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if you can, but it won't show through here, you see?
You don't want to?
Not really, I'll try, but sorry to put my stuff on your paper. It's, you see when it's two screens on one, it's,
Oh, sorry.
they kind of shine. That is you right there, yeah.
This is myself.
Yeah.
This is, you can see, here it was just CPS, that building there, the Central
Yes,
Police
yes.
Station.
Yeah.
Get it up there.
That place up. I had called a meeting here to meet some people, but they blocked it. So I decided to go to the police station. It was with my colleague and MP. When we went there to explain, to ask why the meeting had been blocked, that's how we were treated. Yet it's unoffensive. I mean, it's absolutely prohibited under our constitution to treat any person, subject him to inhuman and degrading treatment.
Yeah.
But this is what happened. Now you could see, this is my colleague, Honorable Dongo from Waru County, with whom I had organized that gathering. Oh. Sorry. This way we had moved there. Yeah. Right is. So sorry. Gosh. Could you see? This is Kano Chizabe CJ. This is John, the leader of Forum for Democratic Change. This is Savannah Chizito. This man had stood in the way to Christ the King, where we were going to address just a press conference. We had gone there to address a press conference. This man stood in the way, said, "No way, you can't enter here." And we are pleading with him, asking him now, honestly, you can see how one person like a police wielding all those too much powers, holding at ransom presidents of two political parties. We are going to have a joint meeting there. Then you can see now they brought in the military. You can see now this military coming in to deal with us. This is the situation. Now this is tear gas. The eye irritant which they spray around to bring this vehicle to disperse us. This is Kanobesi. You can see how drenched he is. This is also president of a political party called the Justice Forum. This is the president. You can see how he's sniffing. The president of my party, Democratic Party. You can see this man, Agero. This one, we even challenged him and said, now, how could he, even if these people had committed offenses, when you are dealing with public management, this weapon, you can't get out a pistol. You point it at individuals like this.
One armed was
civilians and so on and so forth. So this is the notorious Chiboko squad. These people are just outside here. You can see Pioneer Mall next to my down here. They are emerged out of CPS. These are goons. Lumpens who were hired by the state to whip us, to beat us. When you gather, they get a truck full of sticks. They put it here in CPS here. Then they mobilize Lumpens downtown. They give them the stick. You can see this one is holding how many sticks? 2, 3. You can see these ones. They are being guarded by military. The military is there to keep guard. You can see many of them are moving around. It's a very big group. And this one is even yesterday we are brought in a window to whip me if I had dared gone there. This is the same man pointing a gun at Sevana Chisto. This is the President General of DP. And he's pleading with him now. Why are you pointing a gun at me? This is again a member of the so-called Chiboko squad. Chiboko is a stick. Yes.
When was this? When
this was last year. No, it was
2007.
2007. Shortly after, there was a demonstration against Mavida. The takeout of Mavida. This is the same incident at Press the King. This man now is telling everybody now to go away. This was the former regional police commander here. The CID chief now at the headquarters there. This is the former regional police commander here. It's called Ochom. These are all scenes there. You can see again, this is the President General DP. And this is this man, a police officer. You can see even the peeps now pointing the gun at him. This is the same situation. You see, they use the military. So those are some of the pictures.
CID? You said he is now the man in the picture who was telling you.
Now the CID chief.
What does that mean?
Criminal Investigation Department.
Criminal investigation. Oh my.
Now you see this. This is part of the other incident. Now this is myself up here. This is my colleague Honorable Dongo too. You can see all these ones pushing. We are taken here. Actually, the other man was wielding a stick. If I could go from the beginning, so let me go from there. You would get the whole story. Yes, you can see now. That is Central Police Station. Myself, my colleague here, we are going to ask these people as to what exactly had transpired, why they had blocked our rally. Now this man, a police officer, also is descending down to meet us. You can see it's being joined by others. They told us, what do you want here? Now my colleague Honorable Dongoto decides to raise the Inspector General of Police, because earlier on we had talked to the IGP and told him, Lord, we need to have a dialogue over this matter. He said, you come over to my office, to CPS here, to see the regional police commander. So now these people had started threatening us. Honorable Dongoto said, let me call the Inspector General. You can see as he was retreating, this one is closing in on him. Now we come back, we try to explain. You can see there we are explaining, pleading, explaining. Now his mood is now changing, you can see. You can see there the mood of that officer is changing. Now many of them are coming, closing in on us. So Honorable Dongoto here says, okay, let me go away. You can see this gentleman is now issuing orders. Arrest him. Now you can see these ones are closing in. They are closing in. They pick him. Now you can see. They grab him. You can see myself as I watch. They grab him. After they had grabbed him, now they also pick me. So from there they push both of us up. Up to the cells. They took us to court. You can see now we are behind the bus. We were remanded. We are behind the bus. From there we reached the court. It was after 5 p.m. Court says, now we have granted you bail, but there's no. You have to pay the bail cash in the bank. Just 100,000. That's around 100. How much is it in dollars?
Around 60 now.
$50,
$60 there.
Yeah.
So now, they say, of course we couldn't fail to pay that money. But the practice was that this money must be deposited in the bank. It was after 5 p.m. The banks had closed. It was a Friday evening. Courts don't sit the following day on Saturday and Sunday. So we were taken to Luzira, remand prison. We were remanded. We spent the weekend and we were only brought back on Monday. And it was all planned. You can see there, we were not even taken in the prison's vehicle. They just put us there. We were in court. That is court. You can see now they put us in a police truck, then taken to Luzira. They took us to Luzira. These are some of the other pictures when they were pushing us. You can see how many are they? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. They are led by this DP, the former DPC. Is now heading Deputy RRU, Rapid Response Unit, Emmanuel Muhairo. He is holding a whip here. Yeah. Hide whatever. I don't know. You can see the kind of. This is not a police personnel. These are goons. He's not even known in any security organ. He is a goon who is given military fatigue. Yes, with the police. With the police. And there are so many of such kind.
And they deny.
Exactly. So there we are behind the bars. So when we were taken to court, there you are. When we were taken to court, we were instead charged with a traffic offense. You can imagine, I was not driving myself. The vehicle was not mine, but I reached court. They charged me with a traffic offense.
Traffic offense?
Traffic offense.
Traffic offense?
Yes, traffic.
You're not driving?
I wasn't driving. It was Honorable Dongoto's vehicle, and we were being chauffeured. I was seated in the back seat. And now they are saying this man was flagged down by a police officer, the driver, and he refused to stop. Now the driver was not charged. They charged me. Now the case is still pending in the court up to now. Since 2007, I'm required to report. You miss parliamentary business, you meet other schedules, but they keep you running. So right now as we talk, I for one, I have about 6 cases in Masaka, in many of these courts around. I've been to jail several times over these assemblies. So, yeah, that is all. So that is the situation we are in. Now the police is being used as an instrument of oppression. In addition to that, the police is being assisted by the military and a group of Wayaye lumpens who are given sticks to come and probe and whip us. So that is the situation on the ground. It's all because government, the NRM, the ruling regime, was not willing to restore multi-party democracy. They were being forced under the weight of this public interest litigation, those constitutional cases, as well as the pressure from the donor community. It is that reason they were forced to open up the political space. And now they are using the institutions of the state to frustrate the implementation of the multi-party democracy. And that cuts across, it goes up to the lower local administrative units. Even the LC1 chairman, the LC2, all those people, even in local councils, they feel like they are part and parcel of the political system called the movement. And even a man like a chairman of a local council one can stop you from a member of parliament of accessing his village, like in my constituency here, in many of these villages where I find the chairman of LC1 writing to me that please, you are coming here to talk ill against the government. Don't antagonize our people. You are not allowed to come here. The chairman of LC1, local council 1, who is supposed to be part of the leadership at a national level, at a local administration level, who is supposed to be part of the administrative structure to for everybody. But now he's identifying himself as a leader of NRM, and that is all. So it's a very, very big problem we are facing in as far as implementation of multi-party democracy is concerned in this country. So that's how I can summarize it. But what I've said is just a tip of the iceberg. If I compile the literature for you, as well as these pictures and so on and so forth, oh, you see, it's really terrible. It's really terrible. We have video and the audio, as well as the pictures, the still pictures. But that is the situation. And currently, we are embroiled in this battle for the administration of Kampala. I don't know whether you have seen that bill which fuses the administration of the city with governance, and now they are taking away people's right to vote, and they are saying, look, we need to have people who are directly appointed, and so on and so forth. So that we are wondering, we ask them, is the problem with the electorate or the people they elect? Our view has always been, yes, many people here in local governments have really frustrated us. I didn't tell you this. I sit on the local government public accounts in Parliament. We are reviewing, we are kind of acting as a probe in the administration of local governments. In exercising that oversight function, we look into the accounts of these local governments. We review the audit queries by the Auditor General. We look at general questions of accountability, value for money, and how they execute the obligations. I'll tell you, we have a very, very big problem. Massive corruption at that level. In almost all the districts, you'll find audit queries. I've not seen even a single district where they are saying their record is clean. No, all of them squandering funds and whatnot. And the moment we try to catch them, they hide under the cloak of persecution. They claim, you see, it's because I'm a movement, it's this way Lukwago is against me, and so on and so forth. And again, even here in Kampala, it's almost the same story, much as the mayor here, who was originally part of the Democratic Party, he ran on individual ticket. He has messed up the city, but now when you talk about his performance, he says, now these people are mixing politics with the development. You tell him, look, as a local administrative, rather as a local government unit, you hold the property in trust for all of us. It's not your own property, like we are talking about government facilities. I don't know, I'm embroiled in battles for the sale of markets, sale of schools. So many schools have been demolished here, but they are all supposed to be controlled by this unit here. But they are sold with impunity. When you tell them, please don't do ABCD, they are saying, no, we own this property for this institution and so on. We reserve the powers to decide whatever. I said, no, but you are controlling authority. You know the doctrine of public trust. You hold that property in trust for all of us. You have to consult all of us before you take any decision. Nothing. And in that situation, you get a problem where you are accused by the ruling government of mixing politics with the development. They are saying, no, this is development. It is away from politics. So that one also creates a bit of a problem, in that the moment you come in to air out your views, you are seen as just a politician, that you are mixing politics into development. And in the end, those who steal public funds, those who abuse public property and so on, they hide under that it's development, we are carrying out development, forget about politics. That one is also a stumbling block. So generally, that's what I can tell you briefly, but there's a lot more I will tell you if I had enough time to give you all this literature and whatnot.
I really appreciate the time you have given me.
Welcome, Sabine.
So I can use your words. I will. Can you sign this for me for my
okay,
university?
it's okay.
You can keep that copy, and I'll
All
take
right,
this
yeah.
one. And